which was our last lecture. So what we have discussed last time, you can check that this is the person who, uh, on his name, this algorithm was, we have uh, got this particular word. Then we have given the definition of algorithm. This is the definition of algorithm. This is the step-by-step well-defined instructions to solve a problem in finite amount of time. Right? So this we have discussed. For any way algorithm we are developing for solving problems. Right? So this is a solution technique, and step by step we want to solve that problem. And some for every algorithm there must be some input, and you process that with this set of instructions, and you will find the output. Right? So that we have discussed. And after you develop the algorithm, then you implement it using your machine, that we call it a program. Algorithm is for our understanding purpose. So before we will implement this program, first it is required to think of a logic to how to solve that problem. If you write down the steps how to solve that particular problem, right, then that we will call the algorithm. And already we have discussed that it is all these instructions are well defined, no ambiguity is there. So like this one example we have given, 2 plus 3 into 5, there are 2 plus 3, 5 into 5, 25, or 3 into 5, if you do first this operation, then you add it, then becomes solid. So this is an ambiguous operation, right? So if this type of instruction you put it in any of the steps, then we'll say no, it's not an algorithm, right? But if you add your precedence rule, if it is associated with these operations, then it is unique. Or if you give some bracket that 3 into 5 we will execute first, then you add it with 2, then you will get a unique answer. Answer will be unique. Okay. So always we want that whatever output of every instruction, it should be unique. So the function, if it is a function, its functional value should be unique. Okay. So in that case, that type of instructions must be there. It should be well-defined instructions. Okay. And algorithm always terminate. It is a finite number of instructions, and it should terminate and give you the output in finite amount of time. That we have discussed. It should be. And some examples we know the first algorithm is Euclidean algorithm, and other examples also we have discussed, finding Fibonacci number, finding factorial of a number, okay, matrix multiplication algorithm. Then these are the things, the design techniques, okay, we have discussed, or phases of an algorithm or steps to develop one algorithm. Okay, so broadly you divide in these 3 phases. One is the design phase, second one is correctness phase, third one is analysis phase. Okay, so design phase says how to design using this technique, which we have already just now discussed. These are the different techniques, and these are different problems, which we will discuss one after another, right? So some problems are based on divide and conquer technique. Some problems based on dynamic programming technique. Some problems which we have enumerated, they are based on greedy technique in this way. Okay, and also we have discussed for one problem many algorithms exist. Like example we have discussed sorting problem. We have different sorting algorithms, right? So out of these, which one is efficient? That is actually your analysis phase. Okay. So second step is your correctness phase, which we have already discussed. That how to know that one algorithm, whatever you have developed, is correct. For that, you have to use some proof technique. That is called principle of mathematical induction. It's the mostly widely used technique to prove my algorithm is correct. And Correct means whatever you give an input, it will give your algorithm will process it and will give you the desired output. If it is a certain problem, it should give you another array which is a sorted order, right? Or it may swap the elements and it will be in the ascending order. So whatever is desired outcome for that particular problem, you must get that. That is your correctness of the algorithm. But the most important is how to find the time space complexity of the algorithm. Right? Like insertion sort will write its algorithm. After that, you will analyze that it will take theta n square time. Bubble sort also takes theta n square time. This is one notation. Selection sort also takes theta n square time. What is it? N is the array size. Because the time depends on the length of the array. If array size is 9, but suppose insertion sort you are using. If array size is 9, it will take some time, right? If you implement it, run it using anything. If array size is 9 lakh, it will take more time. So time complexity, which we are measuring in this way. So time complexity is a function. Right? So how to find the time complexity of an algorithm is our today's requirement. Right? So time complexity T is a function which depends on n. What is n? N is the input size. It can be 9, it can be 9,000, it can be 10,000 elements or 10 lakh elements. So n is in this particular example, n is the array size in certain problem. Right? Other problems, that is your n. In general, n is the input. For any algorithm, we are giving input, that n is the size of the input. Right? After you develop a correct algorithm, after you design a correct algorithm, your next task is to find its time complexity and space complexity. Okay. So, and both time and space depends on n, size of the array. Right? So space complexity, this is the function S of n. Time complexity will denote it by T of n. So T of n is the time complexity, S of n is the space complexity. Right? Merge sort time complexity, after you develop, we'll discuss it. And exactly we'll develop what is merge sort algorithm. Then its cost is n log n, or its time is n log, like T of n. And you can write the space complexity. It needs another array. So space complexity is twice of n. If another temporary array is same length is equal. Okay. And quick sort also n log n. Right. There are other complexity which I will discuss: best case, worst case, average case. So time complexity are of three types. One is best case, worst case, average case. Best case time, worst case time, and average case time. Right? So these are the best case means you give a case, you give one particular, how many such inputs are possible? You can give many inputs. So your logic also depends on how you are giving this array. Sometimes you may give a sorted array, then how much time it will take. You may give another array which is of reverse order, already sorted, and you are interested to again sort it. How much time it will take? Or you give a random array, how much time it will take? So if for the best case means, so you for that type of example, that type of inputs, right? Instances, it is also called instances. It is taking less time. Your algorithm will take less time. That is called best case time. So some cases must be there out of all possible inputs, because many inputs you can give. Once you develop one algorithm, you can give many inputs. But there must be some inputs for which your algorithm, same one algorithm, particular algorithm, will take less time. That is called best case, less time. Another algorithm, another case, your algorithm will take more time. that is called worst case time. And some other case, your algorithm on an average, your or on an average means you find the average time. All different cases, you find the average of all the times. That is called average time complexity, average case time. Okay. So in this way, three types of analysis. So analysis phase, I am considering time complexity now. Three types of analysis are possible. Other analyses are also there, which we will discuss after some time. That is called amortized analysis. Amortized analysis, right? So this we will not discuss now, but in every algorithm we can discuss what is its best case performance, what is its worst case performance, and what is its average case performance, right? So quick short, it's but average case is order of n log n. Okay, the best case is also n log n, but its worst case is n square, average case is n log. The best case is not n log n square, right? So all these things we will again discuss, but I am just giving some the time complexity. This will take order of n. Some theta, or sometimes we will use big O of n. So this was the previous day's discussion, and today we will discuss how to find the time complexity, how to analyze. This is our first today's question, and we will discuss for time complexity particularly. Space complexity is similar, so we will focus on time complexity. So how to find, the question is down now. So how to find the time complexity of an algorithm? So time complexity function will denote it by T of n. Okay? There are 5 different notations. Sometimes we are saying order of n square. Sometimes we are saying omega n log n. Sometimes we are saying my algorithm time is theta n cube. Okay. Sometimes we are saying my little o is another. Some algorithm will take order of log n. So what is LGN? So log n means what is LG? What is LGN? Logarithm. Log base 2. It's a short notation. LG means log base 2. Right. So in general, there are 5 order notations. So today we will discuss order notations, also called asymptotic notations. So my heading is order notations or asymptotic. Right. So 5 order notations are there. 5 order notations are used to measure the time and space complexity of algorithms. Okay. They are denoted by theta. This is one. Big O, big omega, little o, little o. These are the 5 order. Right? Then is defined over this set. Is it clear? RS size is 1.5. What is the meaning? There is no meaning. RS size is right. So let us define what is big O, a function. So actually this is a set. It contains many other functions, n square, n cube. So what are those functions? We will write. It's a set. Right? And big O Gn, it has a name, it is called upper bound. Big O is called upper bound, big omega is called lower bound. It is called both upper and lower. It is strictly upper bound, this is strictly lower bound. We'll define one after another, right? Then we'll solve some problem and we'll see its use application. So let us see what is big O, a function. I told you that it is a collection of other functions. Okay? Suppose someone will ask you what is big O n cube or what is big O n square. Okay? So what you will write? So you first draw, if you select a constant c, you draw a function c into gn, the curve of c into gn. If you use a constant c, a positive, you multiply with that g of n, say c equal to 5. So if nq means 5nq, so 5nq has a graph, right? And big O is an upper bound. That means this curve is an upper bound of all other functions. Means the functions which are less than or equal to this curve, all those functions is an element of this set. That is the definition of big O. It contains many functions which are less than or equal to this particular function, right? That means it's right f of n. If f of n is less than or equal to c into g of n, this is the condition. So all these functions which are less than or equal to this curve, right, they are belong to this function. Right? And another condition is, because this is when I am saying this is my n, this is t of n. Right? This is my function. So 0. So n is the input size 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is the domain. And time, can it be negative? Time of an algorithm. Can it be negative? Time always positive. So out of these four quadrants, first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant, for time complexity analysis, only we will work in this domain where x is positive, y is positive, n is positive, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my n, and t of n is always positive. All these functions, whatever we are discussing, all are used to measure the time complexity of an algorithm. That's why all are positive. So this condition is also true. So everything is greater than equal to 0. All these functions are positive. It cannot be negative, right? So this condition holds. So all those functions f of n such that it satisfies this condition. Okay. So what is c? We have to formally write that. So there exists constant c which is positive, because everything is positive, and n0 belongs to n, here n0, n also you can take whatever, n0 belongs to n such that this condition. So c already we have discussed. What is c? You choose any, there exists constants. Right? This is the there exists constant. Any constant you select as per your wish, right? So you multiply with that function, first draw that curve, then all these functions which are less than or equal to this, they belong to this set. And what is n0? N0 is this point, right? N0 is this point. So this is valid, maybe this one, because n0 is this belongs to also this one. N0, this may be 2 or 3 or 4. It's always an integer. So that is my n0. So this is valid. You check this condition is valid after some point. That point is called n0. Right? This is the turning point. Okay. So before that, your function behaves in a different way. This function is bigger. This function is smaller. Right? But after this point, this curve is bigger than this one, right? So that's why this is true when there is another n greater than equal to n. This is the definition of B. This is the definition of B. Let us discuss it for giving an example. Okay, B go in Q. What is the meaning? Meaning is, suppose someone will ask you what, can you write down some functions for this set? So this is a collection of functions. You have to select one constant, positive constant. Let's say let C equal to 10. I'm draw a diagram of 10 into n. It may not be the exact diagram, but this is not an NQ diagram, but you draw, let's say this is my 10 into NQ. This is n. Can you tell one function which is less than or equal to 10 NQ? So, suppose I will write 2NQ. 2NQ, all these functions f of n, which are less than or equal to 10NQ, they are belong to this set. Right? Now tell me whether 2NQ belongs to this set, whether 2NQ less than 10NQ, is it here or above that? Can anyone tell whether 2NQ satisfies this condition? Is it less than or equal to 10NQ? Less than or equal, right? 2NQ is smaller than 10NQ, so 2NQ is that element. 4NQ is another element. Okay. 10NQ also is another element. 10NQ equal to this, right? N, suppose if n equal to n, whether n less than 10NQ? Yes or no? Whether n is less than 10NQ? So n yes, also belongs to this set. N square belongs to this set. Okay. 70n square also belongs to this set. Because 70n square, it is NQ. Right? So, can you tell 50 NQ? 50 NQ whether less than this? Can you tell 50 NQ is belongs to this set or not? Can anyone tell?
No, sir.
No. But in the definition, you check there is written there exist constants. Can you find another constant? If C equal to 10, it is not working. If C equal to 100, whether 50 NQ less than 100 NQ?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
That means there exists a constant. One constant you can always find. So that this condition also. So 50 NQ also belongs to this set. 100 NQ will also belong to this set. 1000 NQ also belongs to this set. Yes or no? At that time, what is C? C is, you can take 1000 or C is 2000, you can take many. So any constant in 2NQ belongs to this function. How many elements are there in big O NQ? Can you tell? Finite or infinite? How many functions you can give? This is a task that you write.
Infinite, sir.
Some functions here.
Infinite.
Infinite. Many functions you can write. Right? Infinite. Very good. But N4, n to the power 4. Can you tell whether this belongs to this set or not? N to the power 4.
No,
Whether this function is above this or below this. It is
above this, sir.
N
After n greater than
above
C.
it. So N4, N4, n to the power 4 you cannot write. Okay, n to the power 5, n to the power 100, So all these are different functions which you cannot put it in this set. But you can put, so 2n plus 3n square plus 7n. Can I write this? Now tell me, I am giving, these are some exercise problems are will come. Whether this function is less than this curve, 2n plus 3n square, 3n square plus 7n cube. So can you find some constant so that this is less than some constant into n cube? Yes, you can write 2n plus 3n square plus 7n cube, and you write 2n cube plus 3n cube plus 7n. You know, individually 2n is less than 2n cube, 3n square less than 3n cube, 7n cube is equal. So this is, can this relation holds inequality? But the left hand side is less than or equal to right hand side, because every term is smaller here. Right? Here 2n, but here 2n. But here you can take n cube common, so 2 plus 3 plus 7 into n. So 12, right? 12. So here C is 12. Right? So if you take C equal to 12 or C is more than, maybe you can take any other value greater than 12. Then this function is always less than that C into. Okay. Sometimes you can prove in this way. If it is not obvious, you can simply prove and you can take. So any suppose 500 or 5000, only a constant function. Whether constant function is less than 100 into n cube or any C into n cube. 5000 is n to the power 0. The constant functions are also belong to this. Okay. Or any constant. That means in general you can write a0 plus a1n plus a2n square plus a3n cube. So any equation, any polynomial of this form, you can just change this value. All are belongs to this set. Is it clear? Equal to B go n. Or sorry, better, actually the exact requirement is as per the strict equal to, right? Belong is an element of, because this is an element, this is a set. Okay. So now onwards, I will use this notation for this belong epsilon naught. This is in the first page of your book. You can check first few pages. This is from the beginning. We will write this element of, means I will use this notation. Don't confuse that. I will write 2 plus 3n plus 7n square plus 8n cube is equal. I will write is equal to B go n cube. Is it clear? So this is, remember that. So when I am saying it is equal to, means always you think that I am telling this is belong. So this notation is used throughout your book. So I am using the same notation. So don't confuse with this. This is an element. This is a set. So here equal to means element. Is this clear? So here we are saying. So now the definition is clear. So that the definition is clear, or any doubt?
Yes, sir, clear.
So here we are saying, if this condition holds, C into G of n is an, or G of n is an upper bound of f of n. Or you can say G of n is an upper bound of all these f of n. Right? So this is the definition of upper bound, B equals G. If one definition is clear, you can write all other definitions. Very simple. This is upper bound. Next, omega is omega gn, and it is called lower bound. We'll see why we are reading this. Okay, omega. This is the notation. Big omega, right? It is called big O notation. It is called a big O notation. It is read as big O. Big O. This is the big O notation. This is big omega notation. Big omega. Right? Read as big omega. Right? Big omega. So how to define this lower bound? Then you draw a curve. You choose a constant, multiply with that function. So we go n square. So c into n square. So all these functions which are above this curve, they belong to this. And this is valid after a point. That point is called turning point. Right. So can you write its definition in this way? Can you write that? Write in here. Okay. Omega g of n, it says, is the set of all functions f of n such that, what is the condition? What will be the condition? Condition is the c of gn less than or equal to f of n, right? So here I am writing c of g of n less than or equal to f of n. All are time functions, so all are positive. Okay, so this is valid when n greater than or equal to n. Right? This is your definition. And here c, what is c? There exists constants c greater than 0, and n0 belongs to n naught, such that this condition. Find what is omega nq. Like big O nq we have discussed. Okay, so you write omega n. Now I am defining theta. Theta here, the third notation, theta d. That is called tight bound. Both upper bound and lower bound. Right. So what is that? What you will do? Then you draw a curve. So here two functions you write. One is c1 into g of n, the c2 into g of n. Whatever function is given, here you choose two constants. One is to multiply c1 into g of n and find c2 into g of n. Right? Suppose this is the curve. And tight bound means both upper bound and lower bound. So two bounds we first draw. Then all these functions f of n lies in between these two, they belong to this. Can I write that? This is also a collection of functions. But what is the condition? Condition is all these functions f of n lies between c1 into g of n into c2 into g of n, and all our time functions are positive. Okay, when n greater than or equal to n. So this is valid not after this point, after this turning point. This is n, this is p of n. Right? Previous to that, I don't know its characteristic. Characteristic might be different. Right? So you can write all those functions f of n which satisfies this condition, such that this is the condition. You write there exist constants c1, comma c2, two constants, okay, greater than 0, both are positive, and n0 belongs to n naught, such that this condition. So here we are saying that GA in this case, okay, we are saying G of n is a lower bound of f of n. Or you can also say in some other language, f of n is bounded below by g of n. Okay. Like here also you can say the g of n is bounded above by f of n. That also you can say. Similarly, here you can say f of n is bounded below. So here this is the upper bound, this is the lower bound. This is by upper bound, this is by lower bound. Right? And theta is called tight bound, both upper and lower. Okay. So your task next class, you compute big O n cube. And this already we have discussed some functions. Write big omega n cube, write theta n cube. Find out some functions and show me in the next class. If you have understood the definition, I think you can write down. Can you write down this way? I have given one example, right? You this is already we have discussed. Try to write down some function here, omega n and theta n. Out control, so theta, omega. This we have discussed. Upper bound, lower bound, both upper bound and lower bound. So this is called. This is the upper bound. We go. Next we will discuss little o. This is strictly upper bound. It is strictly lower bound. Right? Strictly upper bound, strictly lower bound. So next, let us discuss what is little o g of n. Little o g of n. Definition of it. So same way, if you have understood one, it is name it strictly upper bound. Big O, this is same little o. And similarly, little omega g of n, strictly lower bound. So these two we can define, then it will, all the definitions are below. So big little o g of n means same. You draw a or choose a constant, multiply with its function. All those functions which are strictly less than. Okay. Here, just in big O definition, this is strictly. This part, if you delete, okay, strictly, this is equal to cannot take. So that is the strictly upper bound. So shall I write that? So here is one change. Okay. Here another change. I will discuss why that's a requirement. Here direct digit I will change it to for all. So this is valid for every constant, not just like this one 100, 1000. You cannot change that. Okay. For every whatever you change, for every constant this should hold. Right. So these are the two changes. So you write all these f of n such that for all constants C, for all constants C positive, and there exists n0 belongs to n now. Such that f of n is strictly less than C into g of n, and because this is always true, the time function is positive. So when n greater than or equal to n. Right? Is it clear? So here there is one change, and here one other change. Here n0 you have to select, we have to choose both C and N0 in case of big O, but in case of little o, in case of strict sense, it is another condition is imposed that it is valid for every constant, every positive constant C. Whatever you are multiplying, so for every constant this must vary. But turning point is there exists an N0. So here both there exists C, there exists N0, but in this case C is fixed. C is for every constant C, right? And but N0 is you have to select an N0. So this is the strictly upper bound. I think with this hints you can define this one. Can you tell the definition of omega? If you know the definition of big omega, you can immediately write with this simple modification. Okay. Can anyone tell? I am not drawing that f of n such that here for all constant, you can check for all constant c greater than 0 and there exists n0 belongs to n naught such that, okay, what is the condition? So what is the condition? Only same condition, only this condition is 0 less than equal to c into g of n strictly less than f of n is bigger than c into g of n. This is positive when that n greater than equal to g. Here this n0 is called the turning point. Always. I tell you with an example what is this turning point. Right? So today we have discussed all these 5 notations. So big O, big omega, theta, little o, little o. Right? All the definitions we have given, and your task is to complete this. Little o n q, you find some element, and little omega n. If you can find different elements in this set, then the concept you can understand. Okay. So big O n q already we have discussed. Okay. Well, big omega n q term will be there, its above term will be there. Right. So like so here NQ term will be there, 10 NQ. I'm giving some example. N to the power 4 you can write, it's above term. Okay, omega. NQ, 10 NQ, all the NQ terms you can write, it's N4, N to the power 5, N to the power 100, N to the power 5. Okay, 2 NQ plus N to the power 4. You can write many things. You can write N plus N square plus NQ. With NQ term you are writing, right? But only n you cannot write, right? So this function plus 5, this is another one function. You can write infinite collection. Okay. Here NQ and it's less 2, 5. All the constant functions you can write. 7n. 8n square, right? 100n cube, all these terms you can write. Okay. Here NQ and above that. Here only NQ you can write. Okay. You can check, find 2 constants. Suppose I am write theta NQ. Okay. Solving this. Suppose theta NQ means choose 2 constants. Suppose I am taking 2 into NQ. Another constant, suppose 10 into n. 2 constants I have selected. Now, can you tell me any function which is lies between these? So you can write 8 NQ, 5 NQ belongs to this. Same equal to is there, 2 NQ also you can write, 10 NQ also you can write. Right. So theta NQ you can write. Square you cannot write. N to the power 4 you cannot write. right? With the same function, can I write 5 plus n square plus n cube? Can I write this one? Can anyone tell? 5 plus n square plus n cube. Can I write here theta and q? So question is 5 plus n. If n is 5 plus n square plus n cube. Can you find two constants where this condition holds? Is it above? Is it greater than 2n cube? Is it greater than 2n cube? Or c can be 1 n cube? Is it greater than n cube? Suppose c is 1. You can choose any constant, positive constant. C is suppose 1 into n. Right? So is it greater than 1? We got 1, c1. This is my c1. Because this function is greater than n cube. Because many other terms are added to n cube. Okay. Is it less than some constant into n cube? So 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. 8. So this function is 5 plus n square plus n cube is less than 1 into n cube, greater than 5 plus 1, 6 plus 7 plus 8 into n. Equal to also, less than or equal to, you can write as per the definition. Here this is my C1 and this is my C2. So you can check that this function belongs to omega n cube. This function also belongs to theta n cube. Right? So 100 n cube is in big O n cube. 100 n cube is also in big, because equal to also there. 100 n cube also belongs to. Right? So you can observe this element. Okay. So you can also check that same 5 plus n square plus n cube is also belongs to big O. Right? So like when you, what is it used? Like it's a kind of warranty. Big O will give you warranty period, like warranty period. Suppose you are purchasing computer, they are saying warranty period is 1 year or 2 years. Means they are giving you one information. Right? So up to 1 year or 2 years, you don't have to worry. I'm giving you one upper bound. Okay. So in our context, whenever, suppose another example, whenever you are downloading some file, you know the